What's up, guys? So Ignister, I guess it's back. Yeah, I think this deck is quite good this format for a couple of reasons. Now, firstly, it can play a lot of hand traps, and some of these hand traps are actually quite good. Like, obviously, you've got Ash, which is quite nice this format for the Brandon matchup, and then also it's just nice having Imperm Vela into Kashtira and insert on game states, and Nib. Nib is a great hand trap, and this, in my opinion, is one of the best decks to play Nibiru in because very few decks are going to be able to out rival and not play into Nib. There's like Cyber Dragons, I don't know what else. Yeah, most decks have to do 5 summons and will struggle to also get a negate out. And so it's just so effective in this deck because they try and out rival, you nib them, and then you kill them next turn. That's been my game plan with this deck for like over a year now, and it just always works. So yeah, the ratios haven't changed much, so we're doing 3 Achichi, 3 Picari. I was always on 2 Doyon, I think this card is amazing. But if you weren't on 2 Doyon before, you definitely need 2 Doyon now because you're going to struggle if you're against Kashtira and then you lose the only Doyon you have. Then obviously the one Baru and Danmari. Danmari always gets sided out going second. Baru, you have it as part of your combo, but it's not a mandatory. It's just like, it's a nice, if it's there, it's there. If it's not, it doesn't change much. Then Gachiri and Hiyari, these cards are the only ones that I could say you could probably remove them if you want to. I just like Gachiri's combo of access code, and I'm willing to have him not be a perfect card in my hand sometimes for that purpose, and Hiyari similarly is just a free special summon. But you can get rid of Gachiri if you really, really want to. The other thing as well, though, is Gachiri is also a free special summon, which is cool. Then moving on to the spells, we've got, so 3 I Meet You, 2 Ignister Island, 1 Idol Reborn, and 1 Fighting Spirit. So yeah, again, nothing too special about the ratios. I'm only at 2 Field Spell because I don't think I need 3. There's back row removal, but most people side out all their back row removal when they know you're on Ignister. And then I play 1 Idol and 1 Fighting Spirit just simply because it's just having different cards instead of just playing 2 Idol. I used to just play 2 Idol, but the Fighting Spirit it's just a slightly worse Idol, so I'd rather play 2 different cards so I can use them both in one turn, which is nice. Then I play Eye Contact in this because I want to see Nib. Like, genuinely, Nib is the card I care about most, and then both side I want to see Rivalry or D-Barrier. And you have to remember in this deck, for your main combo, you're going to thin your deck by like 12 cards or something. And then if you eye contact at the end of that, you're very likely to see a nib, especially if you didn't see it in your opening hand, or see whatever hand trap or side card you want. And so I think eye contact is very necessary, especially because the power level of the top deck is quite high. So you want an unfair play that you can do back to them, which is digging through your deck for 3 cards. The other thing as well is while people are playing Ash, it's like not everyone is playing Ash. And so, for example, if you eye contact, it's probably going to go through as well, which is nice. But you have to remember, you do actually have to open combo plus an extra field spell to be able to resolve this. Now, moving on from that, nothing else really different. I'm playing Small World instead of Desires because, unfortunately, Kashtira is a thing, and if you Desires, you get heavily punished. You also get punished a tiny bit extra with Small World, but at least it's not as bad as Desires. And then the 1-up start, so I could play 3 Small World, but I just thought, why not play 1-up start as well, so it's like even less having to banish my own deck. And then 1 Duster. 1 Duster I think is mandatory in main, while Labyrinth is a deck. The Labyrinth matchup is actually not too bad, by the way. So no one in Labyrinth I've played against is playing that Destructive Daruma Cannon or whatever it's called. If they start playing that matchup becomes hard. But until they play that card, that matchup's actually very easy because, again, they struggle to deal with a rival, and you just generate continuous pressure each turn. Now, in the Labyrinth matchup, you do have to be a bit more conservative with your resources. So once you know they're on Labyrinth, you need to be doing hyper efficient routes to get to your arrival and stuff. You can't be playing around trying to just go for kill shots. It won't work. You'll run out of all your extra deck and you won't be able to win, but it's not an impossible matchup. But yeah, in the extra deck, so where have we added redundancy in the extra deck? So the first thing is I'm playing 2 Arrival. You don't actually have to play 2 Arrival. You can actually just play 1 Arrival, 1 access code, because in the Kashtira matchup, this is what's going to happen. If you're going first, it doesn't matter if they look in your extra deck. If you're going second, they have to get rid of access code. So they're going to get rid of access code or Arrival, and they're going to get rid of access code. So in the Kashtira matchup, I would actually say you don't necessarily need to Arrival, but I like having that option anyway, just in case it goes past turn 1, so I can make another Arrival if they somehow out the first one. Then moving on from Arrival, 2 Splash Mage was always played because it's good. Then I played 2 Dark Templar now as well. Dark Templar is really, really good because I'm playing 2 Arrival, obviously. And because what you have to remember is Dark Templar also gets his effect if he beats over something. And so a common thing is you're going to Book of Eclipse their board, and then you're going to Dark Templar to beat over something. And then now Dark Templar's effect is going to trigger, summon a bunch of cards, and you make a rival in main phase 2, pop another card on the field. So because of that, I do think he's another good one to play it too. But what's interesting, as you can see now, is I'm only playing 2 Dark Infant. And you go through 2 in your combo. But I've just found that in every game state that I play nowadays, I just never need the second Dark Infant. It literally never comes up. Sorry, the third Dark Infant. And it literally never comes up after turn 1. After turn 1, if I genuinely have 0 cards, then it's like I'm in such a losing state that the third infant is not relevant. Almost always I'll have at least 1 card already on board or something like that, and so I'm always making this under the second splash mage, or I'm able to go up into the transcode, or I can get 3 cards and just get it. Like there's never a scenario where you need the third infant, at least right now, and I haven't had a Kashtira player banish an infant from me, which doesn't make me feel like I need to keep a third dark infant. Yeah. Everything else in your extra deck, I would say it doesn't matter if you lose. Like, it's not great, but it doesn't matter if you lose. So losing Wind Pegasus, you don't care that much. Losing Access Code, don't care that much. Cybers Wicked, again, you don't care. Heat Soul, it's a bit annoying, I guess, for where I meet you, but other than that, you don't care. Security Dragon, you only play that for Nib, but it's not mandatory. Transcode and Update Jammer, again, you don't care. Now, if you get nibbed, it's a bit unfortunate like before. Same way if you get a Eclipsed, it's a bit frustrating in this deck. However, that's just a concession that I've made, and I've accepted that that's a weakness I have to play with this deck. There are ways to play around it. You can play Enemy Controller, you can play Signet Backdoor, but I just don't think it's necessary. Again, these aren't things that are coming up enough that I think it's worth compromising the consistency of my deck for. But yeah, then moving into the side deck, really my side deck is just geared towards a bunch of cards that I side in against Kashtira, a bunch of cards that I side in against Labyrinth, and then Rivalry because it's unfair. So, and Branded as well. So we've got Book of Eclipse, which is just generically good against everything, but Kashtira especially, and Book of Eclipse and D-Barrier will go in against Kashtira. Then we've got Cyclones, which is very, very good into the Labyrinth matchup and Backrow matchups. Talents and Thrust, even though it's here, I'm putting in every extract, but I don't actually like Talents and Thrust in this deck. And the reason being is because taking your opponent's cards isn't that useful, and you haven't got as many power spells in your main deck that you actually want to search. So I can see a world where I do remove this, but for now it's staying. Yeah, then I also play the D-Barriers. Like I said, D-Barriers unfair, and Rivalry. Rivalry is really, really good in this deck, because after game 1, your opponent might now, if they didn't have their Kaijus or whatever sided in, they will put them in. And Rivalry is like a protective card. So basically, you flip Rivalry. There's no Cyber Kaiju, and so now that your opponent can't Kaiju you. So I think Rivalry is actually a really, really good option for this deck as well. Definitely have an idea about putting your side deck. And it's not bad. It's a not bad floodgate, this format as well. So yeah, guys, that is my Ignister profile. I do think this deck has a lot of potential. So yeah, definitely give it a try. Definitely give it a look, because it's a really, really good deck at the moment. And I'll talk to you all soon. Peace.